Yo, what it do, y'all? It's your man Mike Titan, the Gaming Savant, here with my homeboy Dom, and we are here to give y'all our top 10 games of 2023. I don't know how you feel, but I definitely feel 2023, if not the best, is probably up there with one of the greatest years in gaming. Whether you like RPGs, action games, the indie scene was booming this year. As far as 2023 goes, how did you feel about it this year, Dom?
Agree, especially when it comes to the current gen consoles. I mean, there's no point to like say next gen. I
Yeah,
mean,
because we're like
PS5,
4 years in
like the
now.
current.
So.
Considering like how long they've been out, and we've been kind of like asking, like clamoring for it. Yes, we've got like exclusive, but just like you said, just overall the game that it came out. A lot of money was spent,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of hours was put in. You know what I'm saying, with all these different games. But yeah, to be honest with you, 2024, it's looking like it has the chance to top it. So yeah, it was one for the ages. To be honest with you, kind of made me feel like about 2008ish.
Yeah. Oh
I think
yeah.
that was like, you know what I'm saying. That's what it made me feel like in 2008 days
Mm.
when everything was just popping just like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, and I would definitely say, and you would tell by my list and honorable mentions that we'll get to in a second. This was definitely the year of, man, I want to try this game and see how it is, and then I don't finish anything. So I finished very little. I got far in a lot. I finished maybe one or two, but uh, overall, this was definitely, if you were a gamer of any source this year, this definitely was a great year overall. I think through all genres, depending on what you like. So we're going to start off with honorable mentions. I will let you go first because I think yours is a little more tame than mine.
For that, I will say our list is not for the people, who just likes to play 2K and Call of Duty all day. Nothing against y'all, but
Mhm.
y'all probably ain't even gonna know what half of these games probably is considering. But yeah, my honorable mention started out in double digits, but I cut it down. So the first one will be Sea of Stars. Fantastic. It it was real fun to play. It just came out at the wrong time
Mhm.
considering all the other games that came out in that month. But yeah, Sea of Stars is one. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre game that came out. I actually enjoyed that more than like the Friday the 13th. Now the concept was basically the same, but it was just something about like just playing with like the family members or like whoever's gonna be Leatherface. And when you actually got people online that want to actually like play the game, you know what I'm saying? It was pretty fun to play. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Power Rush Simulator, it's just so relaxing. Like, it's like games like that. Sometimes you just want to just cut your brain off, especially considering the games that is gonna be on the list and things like that. Like some of these games got heavy, some of
Mhm.
these games take a lot out of you. So sometimes you just want to just go wash a car, wash a truck or something on the Power Wash Simulator. The next one is Like a Dragon Ishin, and I'm only doing that because I can't have two Like a Dragon games in my So that's like it's like a spoiler for like one of the games that's in my list already. But yeah, Like a Dragon Ishin, it's basically like the remake of the game that came out on PS3. It was like 2010, I want to
Mhm.
say. It was
Yeah.
it was a while ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, fantastic reiteration. I mean, the samurai style, you know what I'm saying, with the
Mhm.
sword and the pistol. Yeah, that was easily my favorite one that I upgraded the most. Now, oh, Street Fighter 6 is my next one. Now, the reason why I said that, and I'm just gonna breeze by that, is because these next games are only on here because I did not finish them. So before y'all lose y'all minds, that's why these games are on my honorable mentions list. The first one is Alan Wake 2. I played the first one, I loved it. I only played a little bit of the second one, and it definitely I can definitely see why that would be in contention for like, you know what I'm saying, video game of the year because it definitely gives you that atmosphere of like the OG version. So Alan Wake 2 is one honorable mention. Baldur's Gate 3 is
Mhm.
another one on my honorable mentions list. Now look, I created my person, I got some hours in, I got past chapter one, and then life happened. So yeah, but once again, Baldur's Gate 3 was definitely going to be probably my game of the year, like no lie, because just the choices and just the different ways that things can happen with the outcomes and things like that. So Baldur's Gate 3, and this one is going to hurt. me to say this as an honorable mention, and you probably already know what game I'm about to say, but Marvel Spider-Man 2 is also on my honorable mentions list due to the fact that once again I did not get the chance to finish the game. The parts that I did play was fantastic. All you people that just turned on the game all of a sudden because you didn't get the Venom story that you wanted or because it didn't win Game of the Year, y'all are fickle. You know what I'm saying? Because I swear when this game first came out and was announced that everybody loved it, but since you didn't get the Venom that you wanted, first of all, these two Spider-Man games have been original stories for the most part. The
Mm-hmm.
characters have been like known characters, but they've all literally said that these stories are just stories that we've written like for the game. So obviously, you wasn't gonna get like the interpretation of like Venom. Whatever. The game is fantastic. The web swinging is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it is only on the honorable mention list because I did not get a chance to finish it, and I've done a great job because I've avoided like most of the spoilers for the most part,
Same.
especially considering now. So, yeah. Last but not least, Marvel Spider-Man 2 is my last honorable mention.
Okay, okay. Definitely good honorable mentions list. We have a little bit of overlap with some of them. With mines, I will start off. I think I have 15, but some of these are like ones that I just kind of want to do quick hits on. It's like, hey, I enjoyed this. I played, maybe a good 10 to 12 hours, and then, I don't really care much for it anymore. But first one I'm going to start off with, which surprised me because the overall tone of this game, I don't really care for this type of aesthetic, was Diablo 4. So this was kind of, I bought this on a whim. My homeboy, who's big into the Diablo franchise, we were like, hey, let's play this. We'll find something to play together. And besides 2K, we'll find something to have to actually play together besides that. So I bought it. I think I made a necromancer, and I was just like, I understand why people love this game. I just don't care for the whole demonic setting. Like, it's cool, I get it, but also if you actually like pay attention to the story and the lore, this is a depressing ass game. If you care for it, or if you're just kind of like me who like paid attention to kind of like maybe the first couple of hours, and then you're like, all right, what's the best build so I can like throw all my skeletons and golems at people and bone spear people. But I had fun with Diablo 4. I think I maybe got almost close to the main story, and I haven't really touched. And this is another thing that kind of annoyed me about the game. So basically, when new seasons start, you have to make a new character to do that seasonal content. So say if you had like your base character you made when the game first came out, when season one came out, you can still use that character. You can't just do any of that season's content with that character,
That's
which I know I get it. You want to promote people to use different characters, which I think if you're a fan of the franchise, you would do anyways. But the fact that I gotta like make a whole new character and then level them up, and then it's I don't know. But overall, I enjoyed the gameplay. The gameplay loop is basically what kept me coming back. It's kind of one of those things you could just kind of turn your brain off, do I forget what they're called, but do like the raids and runs and things like that to unlock more gear and basically power level your gear up. Next one, which is a surprise, which hopefully means good things for this franchise in the future, is F-Zero 99. This dropped at one of the later Nintendo Directs, I think maybe a few months ago. Essentially, it's basically F-Zero Battle Royale, which I didn't think would work, but once you actually play it and kind of understand it and get the mechanics, it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, you can like try to race and get first, but there's also like mechanics that you got to understand. They have like you have your life meter, so like if your life meter goes out, you get destroyed. You can hit people and get gold orbs, and then that basically like levitates you to like a golden path on top that speeds you up to kind of skip people. And it's a pretty fun game, and like the matches is usually over in like maybe 2 to 3 minutes, 4 minutes, if that, depending on how many laps it is. But it's a pretty fun pickup game if you want to maybe do a couple of games at night, or don't have much time. But F-Zero 99, it is free with the Nintendo Online. That at the lowest it's like what, $3, $4 a month. I think $20 a year for the subscription. My next one, this will be another quick hit. Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. I never really got a chance to play the Battle Network series when I was younger. I just either I wasn't aware of it, or I didn't play it at that time. But it comes with all six. Of course, some games are better than others, but overall, if you like what I like to call towel games, where you kind of try to shoot your opponent on the other side, but you got to move from tile to tile, and then they can like break your tiles and things like that. It's a pretty fun game. Runs really well on PC, and I also played the Switch version. My friend had that, and it runs well on there as well. Also online, apparently there's an online PvP community for this even before this game came out, so there's that. But overall, if you're into that style of game, definitely a fun play. Next one, like you said, is Like a Dragon Ishin. This one was cool. My main issue with this, and I understand, is that you can tell this was a game that was made in 2010. More so is just because, and I don't know if this like was jarring for you when you played, like when it goes from like cutscene to end game, it doesn't like fade out. It just like blurs the screen and just comes on, which
Yeah.
is made me think my game was crashing for a second. I was like, wait, what is this? It's like you have this really serious, heartfelt cutscene, and then it goes back into gameplay, and then just like freezes for a second, and then it just like magically appears. So, you can tell it's made on an old engines thing, but also I'm not a big history buff, so I understand the story they're trying to tell, but and then like I'm trying to remember people's faces because I feel like for some of the main characters, they use kind of lesser characters in the actual Yakuza series. So I'm just
Yeah.
trying to like, all right, like I know Majima, I know his what's his
Couple of
brother?
them, like
Yeah, a couple of them. But
three, like two.
yeah, and then I was just like, all right, I think I know who you are. You may, I don't know. But overall, it's a cool game. Also, it's on Game Pass now too if you want to play it. But just know that it does have some, PS3-esque jank about it. My next one,
Combat's amazing.
huh?
The combat is amazing.
Oh yeah, that's what kept me hooked. The combat, like you said, that was it samurai style with the sword and the gun, just shooting and slashing. Like I hope they have something similar to that in Infinite Wealth, but I guess we'll see. My next one, and honestly, I would probably say this is my most disappointing game of the year as well, is Fire Emblem Engage. I'm not a huge Fire Emblem fan. Actually, the first game I've actually played in the series was Three Hopes, the Dynasty Warrior style game that came out. I actually enjoyed that, and I know that was a spin-off of Three Houses, so like the characters in those games were amazing. So I came into this one and I was like, all right, this is supposed to be the new mainline entry. I don't really care for the main character's aesthetic because I got like Colgate blue and red hair, but we'll see. And the story in this game is horrible. The characters, for the most part, are not really likable. Like, I understand, like, I don't know if it's trying to do fan service or what, but the characters, because I think that kind of the main crux of this game is you basically get these rings, which has all the mainstay characters from old Fire Emblem. So you got Roy, Marth, Lucina, like all the people that you love, and you basically get them as like quote unquote summons that you can like put to your character and they can do their stuff. And it's cool, and there is a story around it of how you gotta like get these rings to fight this evil dragon that came back. But the new characters, or I guess the main characters in the story that aren't the old characters, are just like not interesting in the least. The combat's fun. Also, this is a long ass game. It's like, I want to say it's like 32 chapters or something like that. And I think I maybe, yeah, because I was looking it up because I was like, oh man, I must be like close to the end because there's like a plot twist that happens and you kind of gotta, for lack of a better words, start from zero again. And I was like, okay, so I must be like close. It's like, nah, you like maybe a little over a third of the game. And I was just yeah, I can't, like, I can't. So Fire Emblem Engage, it's cool. If you like the Fire Emblem combat and don't care about the story, this is probably, in my opinion, and what I've read, probably some of the best combat in the series. But like, if you're looking for like Three Houses style of storytelling, you're not gonna get that at all here because it's just not I don't know what it was. Um, so yeah, so that's that one. My next one, and this is purely only on here because I did not get to play as much as you said because it came out in August, is Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. When I first played this game, I played it for maybe about 2 or 3 hours straight. Got my ass kicked by the first boss, of course. Not even real. He wasn't the first boss. He was the helicopter boss, so he's like the tutorial boss. But when you get to the actual first boss, yeah, he's tough too. But I played this. When I first played it, I was like, I can tell if I continue playing this at the rate I am, I'm going to no life this game. And I honestly could not do it at the time, just with everything else that came out and being an adult. But I have been playing it on and off, and it's an amazing game. I felt like I've always wanted to play the Armored Core games, but I never got into it because I do like mech fighting games. But if you have any interest in the series, this is definitely a good starting point to go into. I don't believe it has any tidings to the past games besides maybe like the factions that you work for or fight against. But for the most part, it's fun mech combat, like probably some of the smoothest, buttery smooth mech combat that I've ever played in this style of a arena shooting game. But yeah, it definitely probably would have made my top 10 if I was able to get through it. But Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. This one, which I know you said is probably going to be on your list, but it's on my list because one, I didn't finish it, and two, it's kind of a story we already know what happens at the end, is Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Essentially, it's telling the story of Kiryu, of what happens to him after Yakuza 6 and kind of during the first Like a Dragon game, or Yakuza 7, because they decided they want to change the whole name of the franchise now, and kind of what leads up to where he's going to be at in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Overall, it's an amazing game. Combat's fun. It's only about 5 chapters, but there's a bunch of side content. So somebody as me who is like, I got to clear this map out before I progress the story. This is definitely going to be longer than a 10-hour game for me, but overall, I do still enjoy it. The story's pretty cool. They recently dropped the English voice acting patch, and I tried it for a few hours. It's not bad. I don't think the person who does the English voice of Kiryu is bad. It's just when you're used to the Japanese voice, even like we don't understand Japanese, but we can tell that's his voice when we hear it. And you hear this, it's just kind of like, I kind of do prefer the Japanese voice, but if this is my first time playing Yakuza and I hear his English voice actor, it does fit his character very well, per se. But yeah, overall, a great game. If you're a fan of the series, definitely play it. If this is your first game to get into the series, I don't think you should start off with this because it does kind of hint that you should know. Yeah, it's pretty much, has about 6-7 games worth of prior knowledge that you don't need to know all of it, but need to at least be aware of certain stuff to know why people are doing the things they do and, trying to attack you, and why, Kiryu was going by Joryu now. Joryu. Yeah. But yeah, Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Amazing game. Next one, Super Mario RPG, the remake. I guess you could say it's a remake. Played this again. I only put maybe about 6 or 7 hours into it, but I am enjoying it. The only reason this isn't on my top 10 is because another game on my list that's in my top 10 basically is like a better version of this game. Like every time I was playing Super Mario RPG, I was just like, man, I wish I was playing this other game. Just because one, and I don't know if the original NES version was like this. This game is like, seems super easy. Like I thought the older game was a little bit more difficult. That's kind of like,
Yeah, I feel like the OG game's a little bit older.
yeah. So I don't know if they just made better quality of life changes, because this game is like, I was like the first boss I beat like fairly easy with just using simple moves, like just a regular attack, and maybe your first partner you gets an electric attack, but it was fairly easy. But it's also kind of cool to see how what's the word I'm looking for? How non-Nintendo the characters are in this game. Because originally this game was made by Square Soft, which eventually became Square Enix, the people that make Final Fantasy. So this is essentially like Final Fantasy, but with Nintendo characters, and you can definitely tell because there has not been any. I would say maybe the Paper Mario series got a little bit more risky with their writing, but there's definitely some adult humor and kids game type vibes coming from this game for sure. But it's definitely fun. I am enjoying it, and I do plan to finish it because I don't think it's that long of a game. But Super Mario RPG, especially if you've been waiting for this, and it looks amazing on the Switch OLED and on TV as well. So very fun game. My next one, which I'm gonna call the game that shall not be mentioned, but I gotta mention it anyways because I actually enjoyed it, was Hogwarts Legacy. This came out earlier in the year, and you know, I'll say, regardless of how you feel about the person that made the game, who we all know is a horrible person, this is still a fun ass game. Like, I've never really been much into Harry Potter at all, like growing up, but I saw this and I was like, you know what? I'll play that. I'll try it. It's a pretty deep, pretty good story, very good voice acting. The combat does take a little bit getting used to because it's like magic. So you're like, tapping your magic. You have different spells. You have like two different defensive things. So you have like a defensive bubble and then you have a dodge. So you got to kind of know which one to use at certain times. But overall, I did enjoy the game. It's very fun, so much so that I recently got a Steam Deck and I bought it again on there to play because I read that this was like one of the best games to play on the Steam Deck. Also, yeah, but also it saves me about 90 gigs on my PS5 as well. So, trying to manage stuff along with the other games that are on there. But yeah, overall, Hogwarts Legacy, regardless about how you feel about the creator, it's an amazing game. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's probably one of the, if it's not the best, it's one of the best selling games of 2023. So it definitely, did what it was supposed to do. And, hopefully we'll see a sequel or at least more to come out of this universe. Next game, which I was actually very, very much looking forward to and has been kind of a, I guess you could say, cozy game for me this year. Also one I wouldn't expect to put on here, but Honkai Star Rail. This is made by the people that made Genshin Impact, and it's essentially a gacha. Yeah, that game. Space Genshin Impact is what I like to call it. But it's basically a gacha game. For y'all that don't know, these became really popular in the mobile scene, where essentially you spend money to try to get new characters. And I understand how it worked with Genshin Impact because that's an action game, but with this one, this is turn-based, and y'all know I love me a good turn-based RPG, and it's in space. So for the most part, the story is actually pretty interesting once you kind of get over the anime waifu weeb things. Like if you can look past that, because they definitely dip heavy into that aesthetic. But if you can get past that, it's actually a pretty fun game with, characters that you level up, power up. Stories, for the most part, pretty straightforward. But it's just a good kind of nice game to play if you want to unwind at night, or if you just kind of want to just chill, maybe put on a podcast or something, do some, I forget what the raids are called on there, but do some of that. But overall, it was a fun game. And now it's on PS5, because before it was only on the Epic Game Store, and who's gonna open the Epic Game Store every day to play a game? Yeah, exactly. Maybe if you want to play Fortnite on PC, but now that it's on PS5, I can just play it on there, or I can do remote play on my phone or my tablet or whatever if I want to play in the living room. So more access and easy ways to play. After that, and we're almost done, I only got a few more after that, this is another game that probably would have made my top 10 if I would have put more time and finished it. Is Jedi Survivor, sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. and it basically does everything Jedi Fallen Order does, but times 10. Better story, better graphics, more combat. You get the different lightsaber stances that you can unlock, where you can do dual wield. The what are they called? The cross one from Kylo Ren,
Oh
Vanguard or
yeah, that,
something.
that was my favorite one too. Yeah, I forgot the name of it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Then they
So
have like the heavy styles and the more like defensive styles too.
So
So
yeah, so there's a lot of different things you can customize as far as combat goes. Again, Cal Kestis, basically, I think this takes place 5 years after the first game, and he's pretty much been trying to stop the Empire nonstop, and you can tell, boy looks rough at the beginning of the game. Like he done been through some stuff and does go through some stuff in this game. The only thing I can really say negative about this game is that when it came out, I played it on Xbox. I know it had similar issues on PS5 and PC. It was not the most optimized game when it came out, regardless if you were playing in performance or graphics mode. I kind of got used to it, but as more stuff began to come out, I was just kind of like, all right, I'll wait till they kind of patch it to make it mostly serviceable. Now it's in an amazing state, so this is hopefully I'm gonna try to make this my January game to finish before some of the newer stuff comes out at the end of this month in February. So we'll see. But again, Jedi Survivor, again, an amazing sequel to Jedi Fallen Order and a great game. Next game, which I thought when it came out was going to make my top 10, but as the year came on and as I played more of it and got, deeper into the game, I realized that it's just a fun game for what it was, is Hi-Fi Rush. Best way I can describe this is basically rhythm game, Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic. The characters and the animation of this game looks amazing. Like literally, if they were to make like a cartoon or an actual show of this game, they could just take this style and run with it. And it's rhythm based, so you basically fight to the music, and then you can time combos, which is cool. It's kind of like a more on rails Devil May Cry combat, I would probably say. The only thing that kind of irked me about this game is like, so you fight, right? So you have the combat, you have your cutscenes or whatever. When you're moving in between combat sections, you move to the beat of the song. So it feels really slow and sluggish, and maybe that's just a problem I have, but I just felt like in between me fighting things or in between me doing something, the actual traversal of me going from point A to point B just felt a little sluggish and not fun, just because I was like running on beat to a song that, I don't know, I didn't have the BPM counter up, but I don't think was that fast of a song to begin with. But that was really the only thing. Other than that, the combat is fun. It is one of those things though, if you take a break from it and try to come back and play, you're gonna have to like give yourself 15-20 minutes to in the practice mode, because I think I tried to play this like right before Christmas after not playing for a few months. Now I was like, oh wait a minute, hold on, let me remember what buttons did what and what comboed into what. But Hi-Fi Rush, an amazing game. I'll definitely be interested to see what a sequel to this will look like, because this came from Tango Works, the people that made Evil Within. So this was definitely I would probably say the surprise drop of 2023. Next one, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I've never really cared too much for like the Super Mario U style games. I've always been more of a 3D Mario person, but this one came out and I was like, okay, it looks cool. Pretty much it's what you would expect. It has some pretty interesting mechanics, which I'd be interested to see how they use in future games, because like pretty much the new mechanics or the wonder parts of the stage that they added could honestly, some of these could be their own game, like full blown Mario game used. Some people say it's a good family game. I'm not gonna lie to you, I've played this with my wife, I've played with my 7-year-old nephews. This game is kind of a pain in the ass to play with other people, just because if you're playing multiplayer, one person is the crown, so one person is the lead person, so that's who the camera follows. So you can imagine if you're like me trying to get through the stage, but then you got your 7-year-old nephew who's just doing his own thing and doesn't really fully understand some of the concepts of playing a platformer. then you can definitely understand how that can be annoying. I would definitely say if you're of the older crowd, this game is definitely best played by yourself or with somebody of similar age and knowledge of video games. I definitely wouldn't advise playing this with children. If you want to,
Yeah.
not not make yourself mad. But Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I definitely enjoyed it. Next one that you mentioned, Baldur's Gate 3. I had the same thing where I started and then other stuff came out, and also I was trying to like wrap my head around the D&D part of the game, because it's like, all right, I want to be a paladin, but I could be an oath breaker paladin, but then if I break my oath I get a whole other thing, and then there's multi-classing, and then but I will honestly say from an RPG standpoint, I feel like this is like what the future of RPG should be, as far as like the reactiveness, because you can, like, if you want, when you start the game, the people who are supposed to be in your party, you can actually just like straight up kill them, or like not even recruit them. Like that's how like wild and like reactive this game can be to your playthrough. Excuse me. I was kind of in the same spot with you. I think I got like right before the end of the first chapter, where you got to go break what's his name out of the troll camp. So I definitely know that there's more to see. I've seen some later parts of the game, and it gets really crazy and up there. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3, if I was able to put more time into it, definitely would have made my top 10, but other things came out. Next one, like you said, Street Fighter 6. Probably the best Street Fighter launch ever, because I was there when Street Fighter 5 came out. I know how bare bones, and if you don't like playing online, you definitely had nothing to do with that game. Street Fighter 6, definitely I guess you could say a coming of age game. The little single player mode, it's cool. I don't think it's anything that you would buy the game for per se, but if you want to go there, make your character, learn from other, the world warriors and characters, that's definitely fun. Online is fun, just playing, especially when you like go into the hub area and you just like go around and just like look at people playing the arcades and stuff like that. Like that stuff is definitely fun. I will be interested to see how they handle microtransactions, because when the Ninja Turtles came out, like, yeah, that was it was cool to see them in the game, but also I think they were like $10 a piece, maybe $12 a piece, because I'm trying to remember. I think I bought one. I actually don't remember. I have to go check. But I think I went on there to buy one, and I was like, "Oh, they this much?" I don't know. Let's hold off on that for now. But excuse me, Street Fighter 6, definitely amazing fighting game. Definitely got me more into fighting games as this year, 2023. I knew this was coming out, and I wanted to actually get more into fighting games, because mainly I play like Madden, 2K, shooting games online, but I feel like fighting games would be a bit more mentally stimulating for me, especially trying to figure out all the mechanics and, be a quote unquote try hard or whatever. And finally, my last honorable mentions. I'm sorry. I know I went a little long. This is the game that I probably have. This is the game I probably have the most to say about, because I'm kind of surprised and disappointed at the same time, is Starfield. I'm gonna put it like this. I'm not the hugest fan of Bethesda games, but I do enjoy them. Of course, I played Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3. I'm blanking. Not Fallout 76. Fallout 4. Sorry. Fallout 4. Elder Scrolls games. Like, I enjoy their games. They've never been my favorite games, but I've always enjoyed like what they bring. So when Starfield came out, I was like, all right, cool. It's going to be in space. I love space settings. You can do this, and that. I'm like, cool. So I get the game, download it, and I played it both on PC and Xbox. Of course, it runs better on PC, but if you get used to the 30 FPS on Xbox, it's honestly not that bad or noticeable. So Starfield, to me, Actually, I take that back. I said Fire Emblem Engage was the most disappointing game of the year. Starfield is the most disappointing game of the year. This feels like a game that should have came out like in 2016.
Even more disappointing than Redfall.
uh, Actually, yeah, because like this game, people actually like were excited for it, and the thing about it is like for what it provides, for what it does well, it does really well. The faction quests, you know, not really the main story, but the main factions that you can do, like the Vanguard, the Freestar Collective. I'm doing the Vanguard quest right now, and it's people have saying that's one of the best quests, and it actually is. Like I've done some amazing stuff. Like there is some quote unquote horror parts that I came into a few missions where I had to like sneak into somewhere. There was like a full blown alien invasion mission that like I had to go and, you know, stop these aliens from destroying this city. So that was cool, and the way they set it up. But it's just the thing that like the exploration part that they kind of was like, oh, you can go to 1,000 planets and you don't know what you'll find. And I'm just like that. Also just basic mechanics. Like, come on, like it's 2023. Like there's no way I should need to go through like 3 menus just to fast travel somewhere. Go ahead.
No, keep talking. That was one of my complaints too. But, so yeah, keep talking, keep going.
It's just like it's like if I'm on a planet and I want to go back somewhere, I shouldn't have to like open up the planet map, find that planet I want to go inside that planet's map, and then go to a thing, and then it's just like I don't know. And then like for as much as this is a leap forward in Bethesda's style of game development or their game mechanics, I will say this probably is the best, like, you know, mechanically rich game Bethesda's released, but it's so far behind what everybody else is doing. Like, it's very hard to like play Starfield and then go into something like Baldur's Gate 3 and just be like, man, like these may be 2 separate games, but Baldur's Gate 3 just like does everything else better than Starfield. You know, from a story perspective, just moving around, your choices actually mattering, you know, having long lasting effects on it. And like I said, Starfield, I enjoyed it for what it is. I do want to play through the main story because, and I haven't seen the spoiler yet, but I kind of know what it is like once you get to the end of the game, there's a new game plus, and like the way that they present that new game plus is what some people say is like the best thing about the game. And I don't know exactly what it is. I will find out eventually, but just from what I've kind of seen, and I want to say I'm probably like maybe 60-70% way through the story, so I'm probably about to start seeing what that's gonna come into.
So I'll say this, not to cut you out, because you know I beat it, right? As somebody who beat it, after I beat it, I didn't feel like doing a new game plus at the time.
Okay, so it
but
wasn't.
That was back then.
That was back.
I mean, that was back then. Like now, it might be a little different. You know what I'm saying? But like after I beat it, I was just like, I don't feel like doing this again. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to go. It's like I don't want to do this again.
No, I got you, and I understand because like. I'm gonna say this is probably one of the worst openings Bethesda game that I've ever seen. Because usually they'll have the thing where like, especially in Fallout, where like you're in the vault, you know, you do this, something happens, all right, we gotta leave the vault, and then they have that, you know, welcome to a new world moment. Like in Starfield, it's just like, all right, you're a miner, all right, you touch this rock, all right, this guy from this group is coming to be like, hey, you saw what I saw, right? All right, cool, let's go find more of these rocks. And the thing about it is like they don't even really like try to push you towards the main story. Like once you get to like the lodge where you meet the rest of the Constellation, they'll just be like, oh hey, you can go get more rocks, or you can go enlist in the army, or you can go buy a house, or you can become a space pirate. And it's just like, I appreciate the fact that you put all this stuff in here for me to do, or for people to do, but I feel like it would have served it much better if they would have focused on, all right, here's our main story, here's why you want to do the main story. If you want to do all this other stuff on the side, cool. But like it's so funny, I've seen people like on Twitter or TikTok, people have like full-blown businesses in this game, like just mining resources and selling it for like, you can make your own mining facility. Like that's how expansive and cool it is. It's a shipbuilder. The weapons actually feel really good. Only thing I kind of wish, and correct me if I'm wrong, when it comes to like the skill points and the skill tree, I don't think there's a way you can reset your skills. So,
I think you can do it like once.
oh, once, okay,
Oh no, you're right. I'm thinking about a different game. Nah, you can't
okay,
reset it. Like once you put them in, yeah,
yeah,
that's it.
you're kind of stuck, and I kind of messed myself up a little bit because I was like, all right, you know, there's a couple of side missions where you're required to do space combat, and there's a couple of space combat skills that you like gotta have to, not die instantly.
Yeah,
So I had to like invest like at least a good 5 to 6 points in certain space combat things, which I don't plan on using, but just because I wanted to do this side mission, because I'm like, all right, and they get you too, because they put the space combat like at the end of the side mission, not at the beginning, because it's like a 4 or 5 mission chain. So like at the end, you're just like, all right, well, crap, I'm already like 2 or 3 hours into this side mission. Let me go ahead and do this to see it to fruition. But overall, I enjoy Starfield for what it is, but compared to the other games that are going to be on my top 10 and that came out this year, I do feel it did kind of drop the ball. We'll see where it's at maybe in like another 2 or 3 years with patches. Maybe they'll do like a 2.0 or, an expansion to kind of change things up, kind of like how Cyberpunk did with the Phantom Liberty and, progressively making their game better from the start. But yeah, Starfield, just the little space cadet that could, I guess. But